What's going on? It's the RapNerd, and I'm here today to talk about a new A24 horror comedy movie that just released digitally called Y2K. Now, this movie released, I believe it was the first weekend of December, and it really didn't do that well. I'm not really surprised. It didn't have that much promotion, and I wanted to see it badly in theaters, but just couldn't because this month has been wild. December and November have just been crazy, so I wasn't able to get to the theater, but I told myself when this thing does hit VOD, I'm gonna watch it because it looked right up my alley. And that's really the reason why I'm here. So let me get into the synopsis before that. So during winter break, a group of high school students are having a New Year's Eve party, and this takes place back in 1999. As the party continues into the 2000s, as you've seen in the trailer, technology completely loses it and starts killing people. Those that are able to get out of the party have to go somewhere to survive these dark times. Now, as I stated, this is a New Year's Eve movie, and that is why I'm here to talk about the film, because I am an annoyingly seasonal type of dude. I love holidays. There are certain movies that I watch during holidays and during the seasons. I think I found a New Year's Eve film that I'm always going to watch every year because of how fun this thing is. They managed to capture what it looks like, sounds like, and feels like in 1999 to the 2000, if you will, in such a way that I haven't seen done in horror films, especially after this terrible film on Netflix called Time Cut that did it all the way wrong. But I'm here to say that they really nailed it in a lot of different ways, especially like the way people dress, the music, and even just visually, the way the movie looks. It's shot in a way that is so subtly done that it looks like films from that time, and I really appreciated that, especially being somebody who grew up during that time. And that's another thing that makes this movie so great, is because if you were younger when the transition from 1990 to 2000, as we call the Y2K, was here, everything that happens in this movie is exactly what we thought was going to happen. There are even horror aspects that are direct references of what people have said back then was going to happen, and I couldn't help but laugh my ass off because, again, we really thought that this shit was going to happen. Not to say that we feared it, but the talk in the air of technology going against us was such a high thing that you would think there would have been Terminator happening back then when we were waiting for the ball to drop. And what I like about it is they capture different cliques and types of people in the film for the time period in a way that's not exclusive. Like, I've seen some films try and recreate this time period, but they only, focus on one group, and then the other ones kind of get the wrong treatment. It's kind of like nobody did that, or something fashionable may be off. Like, they even pick songs that are so specific to being popping at the time that it made my jaw drop, because there's one particular song in the beginning in the party scene that gets popping that I was like, this was definitely the song of this year. And I was like, wow, whoever wrote and directed this, I believe the guy's name is Kyle something. I forgot, excuse me, I don't quite remember it, but he did his due diligence in doubling down on what it was like during this time period in so many different ways. And the lingo even being used is super on point with what it was during that time. Like, I remember that. I think I was in 6th grade, I believe, in 1999, and all of the things being said, I remember that was being said for real. And as I mentioned, it is a horror comedy, so there are a lot of comedic moments in here, but for me, the majority of them land in big ways that had me laughing. And it just wasn't nostalgia either. It was genuinely funny moments from the characters on screen. So while I was editing this video, I realized that I left out two really big points, so I'm going to insert them here. First thing, this is a horror comedy, and I touched on the comedic elements, but I said nothing about the horror elements. This is a straight up horror movie, for those who are wondering, because of the exaggerated violence. And if I had to choose a lane in which the movie falls under, this is definitely a slasher film, and that's the way the violence is depicted in here. So it clicked for me why I enjoyed this movie so much. Slashers are my favorite subgenre of horror, and there are so many different ways that you can do slashers, and this movie takes that route with all of the technological chaos that happens. I mean, when the first scene, when things pop off, it's a pure massacre at such campy levels, you can't help but love what you're seeing if you are a fan of slashers. And then the second thing about this film is I have not seen this movie, but just based off the trailer, I can tell that there was a lot of homage built off this film. And the film I'm speaking about is called Hackers, that I believe released in 1999 as well. And you can see clear homage in different places. Even Rachel Zegler, I believe is her name, her character is kind of a version of Angelina Jolie's character. You can see that especially when you dive into the computer part of the film, and I don't want to spoil that, but when you get there, and if you've seen Hackers, or even if you watch the trailer, you can tell off bat that this is clear homage to that film. And I think they did a really good job of upstanding that year for this film, so had to add that in here. So without getting into too much more of the story, because that's all you need to know to get into the movie, I'm going to leave it right here, and I can definitely say this movie was a lot of fun and I loved it, and this will be one that I purchased on Blu-ray. A24, give us a special edition, maybe a digibook, or for sure a slipcase steelbook, whatever. This was a ton of fun and brought me back in such a cool way that not only hit the nostalgia box for me, but also I think it's a genuinely pretty good film that I enjoyed a lot. So it's on VOD now, everywhere you can rent it. And if you're looking for something to watch New Year's Eve and you have a party and y'all want to have a movie night, this is definitely one to throw on as you throw back some drinks. You're bound to have some fun. So if you've seen the movie, let me know in the comments what you thought about it. And if you haven't seen it and you do see it, return back here and let me know. And if it's kind of content, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you already are subscribed, thank you. And until next time, peace.
RapNerd Productions, no capping, that's word to mommy. Instead of banking on it, now rapping is just a hobby.